We all know Lucifer, but what if I would tell you that maybe none of us really know his true origin, and that Lucifer is not even his original name? But we all do want to know the mystery behind this creature, behind his evil deeds. So, stay tuned to find out on who the devil really is. But before I start, I just want to say that I have a Discord account and I have my own site, and even a Telegram channel. So if you want to enter it, if you're into art, philosophy, things like that, poetry, then this is for you. Click in the description below and enter the links. So now time to start. Lucifer, Samayaza, the devil. Who is he truly is? You may know Satan already from many accounts besides the Bible. Films, pop culture, TV. This monster has made into many places, or even the famous painting of Bishop Augustine and the Devil, where he is pretty peculiar. So where does he truly come in? His first account, right here. He appears in the book of Isaiah. Lucifer, his name is. Isaiah 14:12.
How are you fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How are you cut down to the ground, you who weaken the nations?
And now to the original Hebrew version from the original Hebrew Old Testament.
איך נפלת משמיים, הלל בן שחר, נגדעת לארץ חולש על הגויים.
This was actually not truly referred to Satan. This was referred to Hillel ben Shachar. And this was actually the king of Babylon. And this was basically Isaiah taunting him for his empire collapsing. His collapse of his empire was eventually referred to a sun, to a planet, always coming at dawn, rising, and setting. So this is why when the Christians found the original Bible version, they decided to name the character Lucifer in the Latin translation, meaning the King of Light, something like that. So the original accounts of Lucifer, you know, the fair perfect angel that misled everyone and was casted to hell, is originally known as Samayaza in the book of Enoch, the book that never truly made it to the Bible. It talks about God's watchers who are on earth. But the leader of the watchers, Samayaza, doesn't take his work very diligently and decides to philander with the girls, along all of the other watchers. This eventually makes them have offsprings, known as the Nephilim, gigantic human beings who have been claimed to have actually built the Egyptian pyramids. These watchers eventually taught humans forbidden sciences, cosmetics, magic, weaponry. God definitely didn't like that, so he casted Samayaza and his angel down to the pit. So eventually he warned Noah about a great flood that's gonna be, and then comes the book where Noah prepares all the ark with the animals. This is the devil in the Bible, perhaps. The real story, but then he makes his way into popular culture. No, I'm not talking now about the show Lucifer. I'm talking about Dante's Inferno, written by an Italian poet in the 14th century, Dante Alighieri. This poem tells about him being lost spiritually and physically in the woods on Good Friday, but he meets his idol poet, the Roman Virgil, who yes, wrote the Aeneid. Promises to take him back, but he says they need to pass through hell. They go through all of the 9 circles, until in the 9th circle, a place of ice, they meet the devil, encased in shards of ice, his large hairy body, behemothic body, with giant pitch black bat wings, and a head that was actually made of 3 heads, eating the 3 biggest traitors in human history, 2 being Cassius and Brutus, those who betrayed Julius Caesar, crime against man, and the one head reserved for the punishment of the worst, crime against the divine. This head was eating Judas, the man who betrayed Jesus and gave him to the authorities. Eventually, Virgil and Dante escape hell through his genitals, and that makes you feel sympathy for the beast and for the badness of committing sins. Which, as you think of it, he made of it during an exile to really make himself a poet and imagining his enemies suffering, so you can basically count it as the first fan fiction in history. Anyway, then Satan made his way into the Renaissance, where artists depicted him as the famous figure, clothes, horns, and etc., based off the Greek god of the wild Pan. You also know this famous symbol of him actually looking like a goat, the sigil of Baphomet. This actually happened a few years before Dante's Inferno. Originally, Baphomet was a figure worshipped by the Templars Crusade, who even admired the Virgin Mary, apparently, were eventually arrested in 1307 by King Philip IV of France. They were arrested because he needed some money for his Flemish war, and just because he judged them for sort of blasphemy, they were then commissioned to be burned at the stake after they were confiscated. Then Satan made his way in an English poem, Paradise Lost by John Milton, in 1667. That's where the pinnacle of history comes, the part we all waited to hear. That is where Satan is depicted as this handsome, fair angel that eventually betrays God and goes against him in a rebellion, but is casted by the great power of the divine to the pit of hell. And he even gives a speech, saying on how much he's rather rule in hell than serve in heaven, making him a sympathetical figure, rather a fallen hero than a senseless villain. Then the devil makes his way in the 16th century legend of Germany, Dr. Faust, later based in a play by the German writer Johann von Goethe, where he makes the dissatisfied scholar Faust, summoning the devil, but instead receiving his representative, the trickster Mephistopheles. Mephistopheles promised him countless pleasures, women, money, whatever he wanted, but eventually casted to hell. Those are the most biggest appearances of the devil in history, eventually making his way into more movies and stories, feared by the church, and most importantly even received eventually his own show in Netflix, Lucifer, where there he's depicted completely different from what people believed him to be thousands of years ago. There's also a story about him when Jesus is alone in the desert, trying to fast for God, fasting for Lent. Satan is turning stones into bread, trying to tempt him to go against God, but Jesus doesn't let him, which is eventually, I even have a drawing of that in case you want to see. Not done, but... My summary of the devil. The devil was represented as the evil, demonic face that is responsible for all the misfortune in this world, the one who tempted Adam and Eve and made this world a suffering. However, as an atheist, I see instead the devil as a form of us, the aspect of the human mind, that somehow we can never really take responsibility on our actions, and we blame it all on a supernatural being, other than accept the fact that sometimes it's just our personality taking us to do bad things, and not an evil supernatural creature. What do you think? Write your answer in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next video.